I'm Kara Schuett. I am a fly fishing guide and outfitter in Southwest Montana. I'm also a hunting guide and outfitter here. I own a company called Montana Bucks and Ducks. So the summer's great. I get to fish all these amazing rivers, and then fall comes and I get to start guiding pheasant hunts, deer hunts, elk hunts, and then we move into waterfowl season. I started fly fishing when I was 16 in the mountains of Idaho in a really remote place called Yellow Pine, and I had no idea when I started fly fishing what I was doing, but I bought this setup from Walmart for like $30, and I went out and I accidentally caught a fish on the fly, just a little tiny rainbow. And then as I was trying to figure out how to get it in, a bull trout came and ate the rainbow. And I was like, fly fishing is amazing. This is so much fun. Right now we are in Dillon, Montana. We are on an amazing property located on the Beaverhead River. Lewis and Clark actually came through here on their expedition. Dillon's great because there's so many different options for fishing and for hunting. I mean, we have obviously the Beaverhead, which is a really amazing tailwater. It holds a lot of really big fish. And then we have the Big Hole just right up the road, which is a great freestone river, really great hatches. You know, we get an amazing salmon fly hatch. The fish are, you know, they're recovering. The numbers were down for the last few years, but they're slowly but surely, fish count numbers are starting to come up. It's a great fishery. So like the biggest changes that I've seen in the fishing industry are just the regulations. I feel that everybody's coming together and realizing we need to protect this resource. So, you know, the river closures during the brown trout spawn. I mean, it's unfortunate that we can't fish through October, but we also need to make sure that these trout are spawning and they're healthy so we can continue to enjoy the resource. It's only been a few years, but I've actually noticed a difference in the brown trout. I haven't seen any diseased fish this year. Just overall, they seem a little bit bigger and healthier. You know, we also regulate our rivers. There's a lot of rivers in Montana who the outfitters aren't regulated. The Beaverhead and the Big Hole, outfitters are only allowed a certain number of boats per section per day, and they're only allowed in the whole year a certain number of boats. They came up with this permitting system based on what the outfitters were using. And now these permits, as these outfitters retire, the permits come up for sale. They're not making any more permits. But the problem is the permits are so expensive. You know, I know there's a lot of other rivers that are talking about doing that, the Madison specifically. I think our system could use a little bit of work, but it was kind of a starting point. If you're here and you want to fish the Beaverhead, you can expect a more technical style of fly fishing, a lot of nymphing, a lot of really big fish, a lot of heartbreak. The fish are so big and the bugs that they eat are so small. It's really hard to land them and get them in the net. When you're on the Big Hole, it's more traditional fishing, dry dropper. You know, they have some really amazing hatches all year long. And so it's, in my opinion, it's a little bit more beginner friendly on the Big Hole. The Beaverhead's a little bit more technical. Yeah, so luckily for me, I had an amazing mentor. But you know, when you get started in any industry, like you don't even know what you don't know. So as you're out here, you learn so much. If there's any women out there who are interested in guiding, don't worry so much about the big picture. Like just take it day by day. Like just learn how to row a boat. And then, you know, there you'll start being able to read water. Once you're around the bugs, you'll be able to remember the bugs the more you see them. I feel like in the beginning, for me, I ran into a lot of obstacles. I mean, just like with anything, there was a bit of a learning curve, but I'm so glad I stuck with it. And, you know, I think there's a lot of other women coming into this industry too now, which is great to network. There's a lot of girl guides in Montana now, which is amazing. When I first started, there were hardly any.
Over the last couple of days, I've had the pleasure of fishing with Kara Schuett down here in southwestern Montana. I grew up coming over here a little bit. I definitely knew that there was a lot of big fish in the Beaverhead and the Big Hole, but really over the last couple of days, going with a guide on these rivers, especially Kara, kind of seeing how they do things over here on the Beaverhead is very interesting. It's some stuff that I've never seen before, never really fished that way, but it makes a ton of sense when you have a 6-pound trout that's trying to eat a size 22 PMD nymph that's unweighted, and it works. There's no doubt about it that the way that they have tailored their fishing and their guiding to the resource itself is it's really cool, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. We also, I mean, we did fish the Beaverhead, which is a very interesting river because it's kind of small and it's pushing a decent amount of water out of the dam. But I would say that fish per mile wise, especially like for the size of the river, it is packed with fish. And they're big. I mean, some of these fish completely ate my lunch, essentially, when we were out here, and took me for a rip down the Beaverhead. I was also very impressed with some of the little creek fishing we got to do. It was super fun, reminded me a lot of growing up in northern Idaho and fishing the small creeks. Very healthy fish in there as well. So yeah, overall, like from my standard of coming to a resource and looking at how they're handling things. It definitely seems to me that this part of the world has people that really care about it, and they're willing to work with the state and also with the people who run the water and the agriculture here and so on and so forth to, kind of create a sustainable resource for both the guides to make a living as well as the fish to be living. So that's always a good thing. We come down to an area, and yeah, I think truly I met Kara about a year ago because along with her and kind of their family that they have down here being so involved with these resources, they're also very involved in the community, and she actually hired us to play the Dillon rodeo down here. We did spend a day on the Beaverhead then, and once this opportunity came up, I knew that we wanted to feature her for one of these episodes, and I'm super glad we did. We also had an absolute blast, so yeah, I can't wait to do it all over again.